Hello and welcome to my kitchen. Today I would like to speak a little bit about Château Pontet. I very often get the question about among the legendary famous wines in the world, what do you actually buy and drink yourself? Well, plenty of them, but Pontet is certainly one of them. I'm leaving early tomorrow morning, so I caravanned some Pontet 2007. I'm trying right now. However, I recently did a vertical of all the recent vintages, and I have to say that Pontet is one of the wines from Bordeaux, and particularly the left bank, that certainly spoke to me the most in recent years. And the fun thing is that the fame of Pontet came quite late. We don't have to go all the way back in history, but for many years they really didn't belong in the top league. And after the Cruz family owned it for more than 100 years, Guy Tesseron purchased the estate in 1975. And he was a cognac merchant, and of course back in those days you thought of higher yields and everything was, it was a standard. And the wines were not that sexy in what I tasted from the 80s, but the change really came when Monsieur Alfred Tesseron took over in 1994. He started to think about the modern techniques and everything like green harvesting, but his father was not particularly happy when he threw grapes away. But he actually said, I give you carte blanche. If you make a good wine and we get good reviews, I'll let you do what you want. And since then, I still remember the late 90s from Pontet. You really felt a difference in every vintage. And since then, I've been enjoying the wines tremendously well, because I remember one of another eye-opener for me personally was when I tasted with the Grand Jury Européen back in the days when we compared all the top wines from 2003, blind. My number one wine was Pontet, alongside with Montrose and Latour, probably, that got that perfect score. And since then it remained one of my greatest experiences ever. Now going back to the 2007, this was for all Bordeaux bashers out there, this is certainly a wine you should drink, because everyone who believes that Bordeaux today is too concentrated, too massive, too rich, too oaky, whatever, buy the so-called bad vintages, because they are a bit more slender in terms of structure. They do have perhaps more of a Burgundian elegance and perfume, and the prices tend to be lower as well. And it's still a lot of wine to go around. I bought a case fairly recently of this for a very modest price, despite the high quality. Now, I'm not saying that this particular one is a bad vintage. On the contrary, this is a perfect drinkability today. We do get the sous-bois, we do get the hints of truffle, that complexity that comes from extended aging. And I think 15 years for a great wine is a good time. And at the same time, I think that certainly that Pontet is a wine that, to me, very much is a modern wine. It's approachable in its fair youth when it's young, but it's certainly a wine that could be drunk or aged for 15, 20, 25, how long. I don't want to think too long in the future, because then I will be old. Nonetheless, another, of course, important that we speak about the actual estate. Pontet is a bit more than 80 hectares. It's a neighbor of Château Rothschild. It's planted with close to 65 Cabernet, close to 35 is Merlot, but we have small percentages of the other varieties. It was, as you might know, the first estate to be fully biodynamic in the Médoc, so certainly a game changer. Michel Rolland has been consulting since I believe he started in the late 90s, and is still working with the team for the blends. Roughly more than 80 hectares are planted today. And secondly, I have to say that the recent vintages, in the 90s, we certainly saw an evolution from vintage to vintage. We still do that, but everything is so, in terms of selection, in terms of the destemming, in terms of the new tanks. I mean, they created eggs and tanks from the material they do have in their own vineyards. The gravel, the limestone, and the clay, and that certainly gives a bit more dynamism to the wines. And I think in terms of oak aging, everything has gotten much more refined with a great deal of purity and finesse. And thirdly, we also have to speak, it's still a family company, and it's a wonderful family with very nice people, and every time I come there I feel welcomed. And voila, so I think this is a wonderful, when you taste so-called less good vintage, and the wine performs on this level, I'm very happy. So I say cheers to you with Pontet Canet 2007.